Welcome to Airborne Flight Training. Coming up on this week's episode, EAA comments on LODA NPRM, United Airlines pilots ratify new labor contract, USAF to fall short of fiscal 2023 pilot production goal. And I'm your host, Int'l. Welcome to Airborne Flight Training, a weekly program dedicated to future aviators and aviation professionals. Airborne Flight Training is brought to you in part by King Schools. King Schools has been leading the effort in producing expert aviation training programs and computer-based learning software for nearly 50 years. Find out why pilots love King teaching at kingschools.com. Now let's get into today's stories. EAA comments on LODA NPRM. EAA and Warbirds of America have filed joint comments germane to an NPRM codifying new rules for flight training in experimental, limited, and primary category aircraft. The FAA contends the NPRM is intended to reestablish the status quo prior to a June 2021 court ruling that upended longstanding policy pertaining to flight training in the aforementioned aircraft. The ruling gave rise to a regulatory environment in which owners of experimental aircraft were required to secure Letters of Deviation Authority to train in their own aircraft. Owners of limited category aircraft seeking to train in their own machines were obligated to obtain similar exemptions. Legislation set forth in 2022 eliminated the LODA requirement for most experimental aircraft owners. The NPRM, upon which the EAA and Warbirds of America have commented, confirms additional FAA authorization is required only in instances in which an experimental aircraft is utilized in a commercial flight training operation, the selfsame policy in effect prior to June 2021. The NPRM relocates the LODA rule to a different paragraph within Part 91. The proposed rule also rewrites the primary category statute to explicitly allow compensated flight training, the rule's original intent as stated in its preamble. Beyond correcting the 2021 court ruling, the NPRM expands the types of flight training operations allowed under a LODA, following several years of advocacy by aviation groups. And coming up after the break, Cessna 177 takeoff accident claims life of AOPA VP McSpadden.
Throughout the globe, Piper Aircraft has hand-selected the very best in company representation, service, and support. From first inquiry to acquisition to product support, Piper Aircraft ownership is seamless and worry-free. Piper Aircraft authorized dealers, factory trained, factory connected.
Well, hello, fellow pilot. I'm John King.
And I'm Martha King.
You know, we've all had our flying lives disrupted lately.
Well, King Schools is here to help you stay up to date with courses that you can access on your desktop, iPad, or iPhone. If you'd like a refresher or just want to expand your aviation horizons, we have a course for you.
So head over to kingschools.com/rusty today for details.
Welcome back. Now let's take a trip around the patch for some shorter stories. Cessna 177 takeoff accident claims life of AOPA VP McSpadden. AOPA confirmed that, quote, "We are deeply saddened to report that Richard McSpadden, AOPA Senior VP, died in an aircraft accident outside Lake Placid, New York on Sunday afternoon. The Cardinal 177, in which Richard was in the right seat, experienced an emergency after takeoff. The airplane attempted to return to the airport but failed to make the runway. Both occupants lost their lives. Richard was a very accomplished pilot, including serving as commander of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds during his military career, a trusted colleague, friend, son, husband, and father," end quote. EAA Chapter 579 reaches Young Eagles milestone. For the last 3 decades, EAA Chapter 579 has been among the most active in the association's Young Eagles program. On September 23, 2023, the Aurora, Illinois-based chapter surpassed 20,000 Young Eagles flown, thereby becoming the first EAA chapter to reach the mark. The Young Eagles rally, during which the record-setting flight was made, was attended by Tim Donkey and Chris Gauger from the EAA's Oshkosh, Wisconsin headquarters. The pair presented Chapter 579 and its president, Mick Bear, a plaque and banner commemorating the achievement. Air Wisconsin pilots reached tentative contract agreement. After more than a year of negotiations, the leadership of Air Wisconsin's pilot cadre has reached a tentative agreement with the airline's management vis-a-vis a collective bargaining agreement. Upon reviewing Subject TA, the Air Wisconsin ALPA Master Executive Council approved such and decreed unanimously that the agreement ought to be put before the entirety of Air Wisconsin's pilots for full ratification vote. Over its 3-year duration, the newly proposed TA includes nearly $48 million in added value, including 38% and 54% pay increases for captains and first officers, respectively. Senator attempts to increase ATC hiring. For purpose of requiring the FAA to dramatically step up its hiring of new air traffic controllers, Indiana senior Republican Senator Mike Braun has introduced the bipartisan Air Traffic Controllers Hiring Act of 2023. If enacted, the bill submitted by the popular conservative senator on September 21st would require the FAA to undertake the maximum yearly hiring, some 1,800 applicants, at the FAA's Oklahoma City Academy. Additionally, the bill's text clarifies maximum hiring is subject to the availability of appropriations and does not authorize specific funding levels. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's get back to the rest of the news. United Airlines pilots ratify new labor contract. The United Airlines Master Executive Council, as represented by the Airline Pilots Association International, reported 82% of the Chicago-based air carriers' pilots had voted in favor of a new comprehensive working agreement, surpassing the value of the aviators' current contract by upwards of $10 billion. All told, 97% of eligible United pilots participated in the ballot. United Airlines MEC Chair Captain Garth Thompson stated, quote, "This industry-leading contract brings substantial benefits to our pilots and could not have happened without their unity and steadfast resolve. I am proud that our pilot group will be recognized for their contributions to the company's success. United Airlines cannot thrive without the hard work of its labor groups," end quote. The new agreement, which went into effect on September 29, 2023, and became amendable on September 30, 2027, includes an industry-leading pay increase over the contract's term, significant improvements to quality of life, workplace rules, sick leave, and vacation, as well as an increase to retirement benefits for the entirety of United's 16,000 pilots. The contract, newly ratified by United's pilots, was not easily come by. On May 12, 2023, some 3,000 of the air carrier's pilots undertook a series of so-called informational pickets across the U.S. Coming up after these messages, USAF to fall short of fiscal 2023 pilot production goal.
I grew up in an aviation family. My dad flew airplanes and flew air shows, actually, so ever since I was 3 years old, the only thing I've ever wanted to do was be an air show pilot. It's cliche, but I get to live my dream every single day. I'm currently using the Hartzell Talon, the new aerobatic propeller. It's increased the performance of the airplane. It's made the harmonics balance throughout the airplane so much better. By far the best aerobatic propeller that I've ever flown behind.
If it looks good, it usually flies good. The Bristol series of aircraft is proof of that. Furthering their legacy of safety and efficiency, Bristol is proud to feature the Rotax 915 IS Turbo in the current lineup of aircraft. The 915 IS Turbo power plant offers more power than ever before in a light sport aircraft. Learn more about Bristol at www.sportflyingusa.com.
Welcome back. USAF to fall short of fiscal 2023 pilot production goal. The Air Force will fall approximately 120 aviators short of its fiscal year 2023 pilot recruitment and training goals. The service ascribes the shortfall to, quote, mechanical issues with training aircraft, end quote. As fiscal 2023 draws to a close, the USAF anticipates finishing the period having pinned wings on only 1,300 of the 1,470 new pilots it aspired to graduate over the preceding 12 months. For nearly a decade, the Air Force has averaged a yearly pilot production rate of some 1,300 new aviators. Recent failures to maintain the described cadence have been attributed to a plethora of issues, ranging from delays in deliveries of new engines for the service's long-in-the-tooth T-38 Talon trainer jets to a lack of qualified ground and flight instructors. While the aforementioned fall within the boundaries of possibility, military analysts point out the U.S. military services, excepting the Marine Corps and Space Force, are currently contending with recruitment deficits not seen since the institution of an all-volunteer force. In 2020, the U.S. DoD's Qualified Military Available Study estimated only 23% of Americans ages 17 to 24, the age gap representing 90% of U.S. military recruits, were eligible for military service. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention cites physical barriers such as obesity as the primary reason for ineligibility. And that's our show for today. You can catch episodes of Airborne on YouTube, Roku, or Fire TV. Just search for Aero-News or Airborne, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching!